Good afternoon.
Standing and terrific.
Welcome back to the No Hissy Fit Zone.
Welcome, watchers and listeners. Watchers and listeners.
I have a big story today about the example of a hissy fit.
Hang on. Listen, I had too much noise. I was making myself some hot chocolate. A little chilly up here today.
Is it really?
A little bit. I mean, the temperature is not. The temperature is like 50, but it's just, I don't know,
Yeah, I'm at 72 over here.
72.
Yeah.
I'm at 52.
So it's just 20 degrees. It's no big deal. Oh, look at that,
Not
huh?
bad. This time of year, this is warm up here. All right, you got a story. You got a story for me.
So you're not going to like this, but I don't like it. So, Oyster Bone, we had a gig Thursday night at Sunset Beach.
Last Thursday, right?
Yeah, probably 1,200 to 1,500 people there.
I saw the video. It was unbelievable.
It was very cool. And then on Sunday, I got a call from Michael Traro, who was the singer. Said, "Hey, I have your gig money. Can I come by and drop it off and talk to you for a couple of minutes?" I said, "Sure." So he comes over to my house. In his 2 minutes was to fire me from my own band.
Seriously?
Yeah, I started the band originally. I created the logo. I created the Facebook. I created the YouTube. Every time we played, I'd film the show. I'd have about 3 hours worth of music, so I had to come here and take it's all like all together. So I had to separate each one of the videos into the
Oh,
file, and put it on
yeah.
YouTube and the thing. And now I'm no longer in a band. What do you think of that?
Well, it sucks, and I have been there several times, and it's never any fun.
No, so
And
here's what happened.
usually it's pretty poorly communicated. So this guy came over and said, "I got to talk to you," and he delivered the bad news.
Yeah, and really, if he doesn't want to be in the band anymore, why does he have to get the other guys to gang up on him with him to all to tell me that I'm not in the band anymore? It's like talk about a hissy fit. They must have had a hissy fit down here somewhere. Something happened.
So what was the what did he say? So are they continuing as a band without you and asked you to leave?
Yeah, but one of the guys. So what I did know because I did all that stuff with Facebook and YouTube and everything. When they
Yeah.
did that to me, I got a little upset. So I went to Facebook and I deleted the Oyster Bone Facebook account. And then I went to the YouTube with all the video. We had like 75 different videos in there, and I deleted that. So then they're upset that I did that. I says, "Well, I was the one that did that. It was my thing. I'm the one that did
Right.
all the work on that. If I'm not in the band, why should I keep doing that for you? You don't pay me to
Right.
do that." So I don't know. Stupid.
So they had the nerve to call you back and say, "Hey, what'd you take the stuff down for?"
Yeah. You know what?
Wow.
One of my governing values is that I only want to be in relationships with the people that also want to be in a relationship.
Amen.
So if they don't want to, you know what I say?
You say, "I don't want you either, bastards."
So here's the deal. At first, I was disappointed because I said, I lost four friends because we've been good friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and a couple of the guys even longer than that, and they only lost one friend. I lost four. But then I'm saying, why do I want to have friends like that? It was good.
Point.
It was good for 10 years, but now it's no good anymore. So I got to move on. If I fly up there with you guys every week, can I play in your band?
Yes. And quite frankly, move on you will, because I can remember the times I was uninvited to be in a band.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always like I got sent an email that I wasn't supposed to get with them talking about getting rid of me. This kind of stuff. It's ugly. But it's always disheartening and devastating and a bummer. And then you kind of get over it. But I keep thinking about like I wouldn't be in the band I'm in today had it not been for get kicked out of these other places.
Right,
So
right.
bounce back you will.
So you see, oh, what happened here? Oh
Well, you
shoot.
got some light on you now. You're a little lead in the subject.
the heck happened? Oh, so if you see like right behind me over here, there used to be a Oyster Bone logo, and now it's an American flag.
Well, there you go. So, so I got a question for you. This little light right here,
Yeah.
is that as bright for you as it is for me? Because it's blinding as I look into my screen.
I know my problem is that my sunglasses are in the car, so I probably have to go get them.
Because I'm really wanting to move this laptop because I don't like the way this is looking. What do you think?
So,
Bear with me. I always remember a couple of podcasts ago, I dropped the computer. Remember that one?
yeah.
Getting a tour of my kitchen. You know, every kitchen needs to have a electronic drumstick.
Oh, look at that. You got an electronic kit, huh?
Yeah. I didn't really want it there, but the keeper said I have to keep it in the kitchen.
Yeah, the drums should be in the kitchen always.
I didn't want that, but the keeper did.
She's the boss.
Are you believing that at all?
No.
That's not true. That is not true.
No.
So this is, well, let me see. Plug that over here. I'm going to step in over here. Well, man, that's unfortunate, buddy. I'm feeling your pain, and that kind of sucks, and it's never fun. But we're bouncing back. That's for dang sure. So when did this go down? How long ago?
Well, we played Thursday, then Sunday he came to my house and gave me the news. But you know what I really think is that the whole deal was he's the one that wanted that out. And I have the impression that I think he probably has a really good friend that's a guitar player that he wants to bring into the band. But somehow he convinced the other guys to go along with it. And the other guys have been friends with, who've been friends before this guy.
Oh, so the guy who talked to you, you thought was probably the one spearheading this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is because he's. One day I shared something with him as friends that I probably shouldn't have. I said, lately I haven't even been playing the guitar much. I play when we play a rehearsal. I play the guitar when we do it a gig, but I'm not really playing it every day and rehearsing. I said I got to get back to rehearsing, practicing. And he used that as a reason for, that I'm not doing my job or something. There's one song that we play, Just What I Needed from the Cars.
Yeah.
And for some reason I have a difficult time with doing the lead on that and coming in on the right time. I think that really bothers him. But here's the deal. We have about 20 songs or so that we used to play on a regular basis that we're not playing anymore. So put that song aside and bring in another song like Hey Joe or Walk Away or something.
Yeah.
Instead you're going to fire me because of that?
Yeah.
So, where I'm from, we do something like this.
Is that where you're from? Is that island surrounded by water that I heard about?
Yeah. So today I was talking to a couple of friends of mine that are musicians that they're in the bands, and one they used to be. Sometimes he'd sit in for us. I think he'd fit in for us as a drummer. I told you at the time we were playing at a private house, and we were playing "Breaking the Law" by Judas Priest, and the police showed up.
Yeah.
He was the drummer that did that, and he says that he used to be in a band with my ex drummer, the one that I always speak highly of.
Yeah.
The one that I highly used to speak highly of, and he did the same thing to him. One day he says, he's not in the band anymore. No reason, just. So I think he just wanted to bring somebody else in. I don't know. It's one of those things.
It's hard, and it's hard to. It's all new. This only happened 6 days ago, so it's difficult to not feel.
Yeah.
Betrayed and revengeful and all that stuff. But give yourself some time, and you'll bounce back, and something much better is going to come your way, and you'll put something together it's better.
But one of the guys, John, that was in the band, we used to work together. One day I heard him say to Tony, the guy that was a bass player, I took guitar lessons, but I never learned how to play one song from start to finish. I don't even know how to play one song. And Tony said, yeah, well, I have some bass scales that I know, but I don't know many songs either. So I went to him, I said, what are you guys doing Thursday after work? And they said, why? I says, bring your amplifier in your house, bring your amplifier and your guitar to my house, bring your bass in your amp to my house, and before you leave, we'll know how to play one song from start to finish. But they thought because I'm a joker. They thought I was joking. I said, no, I'm serious. So they came over, and I was showing John some chords. He knew how to play the chords, right? Same thing with Tony. I showed him a scale. He knew how to play it. So I said, let's do this. And I started making up lyrics on the spot to make fun of one of the guys that we worked with because he was kind of a turkey. So they were doing this, and I'm making these lyrics up on the fun that were funny, and they're having a good time. So I said, okay. After a while, I says, all right, now You guys got the chords down. You got the thing down. I'm going to change the lyrics to the real song that this is. They looked at me like I was crazy, and I started singing "Hey Joe." And they said, "Whoa!" They actually stopped and said, "What the heck's going on?" I said, "Well, you guys are playing Hey Joe already."
We're playing a song.
Playing a
Wow.
song. And they're like blown away, especially John. So I says, "Listen, we'll learn one song today, then we'll learn two or three or four, then five, then before we know 10, 15, we'll be doing gigs in no time at all." So that guy, John, he was very upset when I shut down Facebook and YouTube. He was very upset, and he quit the band. He left. I don't know if he's going to go back to him or not, but he got so mad that he left. He says, "I can't deal with this. This stuff is terrible." Because he sent me a thing saying, "Tony, I don't even have words. I don't know what to say. I've been thinking about it for hours to come up with the right words, but I can't come up with words. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be playing the guitar, number one. Number two, I wouldn't be playing in front of people, and certainly not in front of big crowds like that. So if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even do this. And I love doing this, but it's all because of you." And then he went along with the other idiots to fire me out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, buddy.
We also can't think about too much about how the rest of what's left might fall apart just because of you not being there. Like this guy, got to be ripping him apart.
It's just silly. And
Well,
I can tell you that I 100% think I've been a real good friend to those guys for 10 years. I really do.
Hmm.
And I think they were good friends to me too. For some reason, something happened. A hissy fit, maybe. Huh?
Hmm. They haven't been listening to the no hissy fit zone long enough, have they?
No, not enough, no.
Well, I am confident. I mean, I'm feeling the pain, but I am confident that you will be bouncing back in no time. Better things ahead.
So this one guy years ago, there was a guy that was like a big time orchestra conductor, like one of those guys.
Yeah.
And it was going to be his last show. He was like 82 years old, so he got the best musicians in the world to come in and do the last show. So in the beginning of one of the songs, all of a sudden he saw two guys over there in the violin section pushing each other back and forth. So he stopped and says, "Hey, what are you guys doing? This is my final show, and what are you guys doing?" He says, "Well, he untuned my violin, and he won't tell me which string he untuned."
I'm getting like you, and I say a word and you'll think of a joke and go with the joke. You say stories and I think of previous stories. Like you just made me think about the time you were jamming. Well, I've had two thoughts already. The first one was, was he your soccer coach? The older, I forget his first name. Lewis, who grabbed all you guys after the season and said, "Bring your guitars and pick numbers out of the hat," and he basically walked you through how, like you did for your friend.
Yeah, it wasn't really. He was 1 year older than me, but he played soccer with me.
Right.
And after the season was over, I said, "What are we going to do now?" He goes, "Somebody get me a piece of paper and a pen." So he started writing some things down, and he ripped them up, and he put them in a hat, right? He says, "Pick one." So I picked one, and it said rhythm. So what the heck is that? So my friend Tony Shaves had drums. My cousin John said keyboards. And then who was the other one? Oh,
You're the bass player.
Bass player George Braga, which
Yeah.
of course passed away from cancer.
Oh.
Then George Betancourt said lead. So I said, "What's this, Louis?" He goes, "Well, you're gonna start a band. How are we gonna start a band?" I said. He goes, "I'm gonna teach you guys." I said, "What do you know about teaching a band?" He goes, "I've been playing music professionally since I was 7 years old in the American Air Force Base in Seda, in one of the islands that he lived in." I didn't know this, so
Right.
he goes and brings us up to the upstairs floor at the Portuguese Club. It's like in an attic room up there where his band used to rehearse there. So he puts a guitar on my thing and says, "Okay, hold that." He says, "Put that finger on this string, this finger on that string, that finger on that
Crazy.
string." And when you're first playing the guitar, your hands hurts like crazy when you're doing that stuff. And then he says, "Now strum it, but make sure that the strings that you're not touching, so that they're not mute."
Right.
So we did that, and then he showed us 4 chords, and then we showed us how to move from one chord. So about 2 hours later, we can move from one chord to another. So it was a G, D, A minor, G, D, C. So we're doing that. He says, "Okay, you guys are doing well. Keep going." And then he starts singing, knocking on heaven's door. And we were playing that song. I said, "What the heck?" So I was like, "Wow, we're playing a song. This is so crazy."
It's like your guys did with Hey Joe. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, isn't that something, huh?
So the violin story, the joke you just told, reminded me of the time you were jamming, and Mr. Betancourt walked up your guitar. He reached up, just turns one little peg and it's like, okay. I'm like, what an ear. My goodness.
There's 5 instruments going on, and he walks in,
5?
Two guitars, a bass, and a drum and keyboard. And he walked up and he goes like this to me, hey, he said hi. Then he walked up to my guitar and tuned one string just a little bit, and he goes, okay. And I'm like,
as you're playing.
As I'm playing, I said, how did he hear that? Number one, how did he hear that one string was off, and how did he know which string it was?
That's what I'm getting from it. Like, what the ear, my goodness.
There's a music store in Marlboro, Mr. C's, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah, I know Mr. C's. I know Jim.
So I was there one time, and he says, hey, I haven't seen you. You local? I says, oh, I live in Florida. I used to live in Hudson, but I live in Florida. He goes, oh, Hudson, huh? He says, you know the Betancourts? I said, yeah, they're all good friends. He says, so you know Zeke the Beak? I said, I don't know who Zeke the Beak is. He says, Mr. Betancourt. Because his name is Ezekiel. So they called him Zeke. And he had a big nose, so he called him Zeke the Beak. I thought that was funny. He says to me, you know that guy can effing, he used a word, can tune a piano without a pitchfork. And I really didn't really capture what that means, but when they teach a piano, they hit the C and they go to the C and then they tune down one key, then they go from there. But he can find the right note and tweak it so he gets there without a tuning fork. These days we all use these electronic tuners and stuff.
I guess that's what they call perfect pitch, right?
Pitch, yeah.
I wonder what percentage of the population is perfect pitch. Not many.
Are you familiar with Rick Beato that does a YouTube thing on music?
I was just going to bring him up. I just saw an old video with his younger son. He plays a chord, and the 6-year-old kid tells him what it is.
Yeah, he plays like a two-handed chord or whatever, and he tells him that's a F sharp minor, and he's like telling him all the notes in the chord that he just played. And I said, wow,
unreal. It's incredible. That's got to be a small percentage of the population who can do that. That's amazing.
That's an amazing.
And they're destined for a musical career.
Yes, that's amazing. It really is.
So I used to hang out at Mr. C's quite a bit back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was actually a customer of mine when I was in the food business, and I got to know some of the guys. And now in my band, those guys knew some of the different people there. It was pretty funny, but we're talking 20 years ago, and easily. And I can remember some bands I was turned on to just by conversations I've had there. And there was a story I was told there that I continue to tell the story. It has a connection to David Lee Roth. And then his son, Sean, who I haven't talked to in 20 years, moved out to LA. I think he's like scoring music for movies or something in Hollywood, where he was then.
In fact, there was a movie that Nuno did all the soundtrack.
Yeah.
For the movie, and that was it. That was him that got him in there.
That's cool.
Yeah. Wow.
So since I last talked to you about that article I read with Stephen Powell, the bass player, and that other band I raved about.
Yeah.
Man, I've been turning people on to that band, and I've been listening to that CD. It is crazy. I texted to you. You need to listen to that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Very cool.
And they have a second album out the same year. They did 2 albums in 2001. And they're both really, really good.
So did you read up on that thing with Neil Young trying to get Joe Rogan canceled?
Wow.
Neil Young probably has 2,000 or 3,000 listenings, and Joe Rogan has 11 million for every episode he does. I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah, that was interesting. I followed all the fallout of that with everybody kind of just giving Neil like, see you later, right? Like, wow.
Yeah, it's one thing if you don't like that he's doing that on his podcast and you don't want to listen to it anymore, you still listen to it, but you don't have to try to get him canceled.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all sides of it, but certainly I followed how the whole thing fell out. Like, boy, that was ugly. Yeah. Crazy.
Are you ready for the Super Bowl?
Kind of, yeah. We finally got an invite. We're going to some friend's house tomorrow in Marlboro at like 6, some food, some dinner, and hang out for the first half, probably commercials, halftime, and it's less stressful to watch a Super Bowl when you don't have your home team in it.
Do you have a preference?
So you can just hope for a good game, and of course I'm rooting for an underdog, so that would be Cincinnati at this point. And I was thinking about my prediction for the Super Bowl that we did on our podcast a few weeks ago. So that didn't work out for me because the 49ers lost. So
yeah. So because the Rams.
Of course, you must be rooting for Cincinnati because the Rams beat Tampa, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Cincinnati. Who knows?
Good things could happen. I mean,
Let's see. It's 24 hours, 24. Yeah, so about 28 hours from now, we will know.
yeah, and the
And
Buccaneers.
guess how much is going to change our life? That much. But it's fun.
The Buccaneers shouldn't have lost that game. There was like a stupid thing that happened there with that
Oh,
last pass. So really, what the Buccaneers should have had is they should have had 4 or 5 people in defense back there, so that if any ball came, somebody could protect it. But they only had one guy that went ran after that guy, and that group is a fast guy, and he outran him. Wow.
but this is interesting. Two very underdog teams, and we'll see what happens. I was having lunch with a friend of mine yesterday at a little restaurant on Park Ave. We're sitting in the bar side, and they got the screens up there. And I happened to just look over my shoulder, and they had the Olympics on. I think they were doing the downhill ski jumping.
Yeah.
I guess that's just called ski jumping, not downhill ski jumping, as opposed to uphill ski jumping.
Yeah.
But that whole and I looked and it occurred to me, and I said to my friend Tom, I said, this is the first footage I've seen of the Olympics yet. Like, have you been, I asked him if he'd been watching it, and he told me that this is the least watched Olympics in Olympic history.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't heard that, but I haven't paid any attention. I mean, I hear a couple of, social media, the Americans got a couple of goals, but I haven't watched any of this.
No, and ever since Tonya Harding left the Olympics, it hasn't been the same.
Oh,
Wow.
I think Nancy Kerrigan would be horrified to find out that the name being mentioned around that story is Tonya Harding.
Wow. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, so this is a funny story. I was reading this. I start every morning with this book called The Book of Amazing Stories. And it's dated so February 12th, this morning I read it. It's a 2-pager, and it's kind of a cool story. It has a little bit of a spiritual twist at the end to kind of bring it some kind of spiritual lesson from it. But I'm learning a lot about different things and different histories. And as you know, the keeper's from Canada. And I was reading this story around the 1988 Calgary Olympics, and this guy who wanted to be a ski jumper for Great Britain, and she's smiling the whole way through as I'm reading this out loud. And because she knows the story, I'd never heard of this. And I'm curious if you've ever heard of this guy. His nickname became Eddie the Eagle, and he was a ski jumper for Great Britain. And he had no coordination. It was horrible, but he was beloved by everybody because he had no shot. And they actually made a movie called Eddie the Eagle with Hugh Jackman around this whole episode. And I'd never heard of any of this.
I mean, I never heard of him, no.
So I'm certainly it's certainly one of those heartwarming, uplifting movies. I love those. So I'm looking forward to it. But she was like, oh, this guy was giant. Of course, she was right there in the midst of it in Calgary.
Oh.
1988. I say that and it sounds like it's yesterday. You do the math and you're like, wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy, huh? Wow.
Eddie the Eagle. I have to watch that one. Watch the movie trailer. It looks, those inspirational come from behind movies. Funny. Oh my goodness.
So what else is cooking up there?
So this is one of those funny times. We've had about 3 days and of just like 50-degree temperatures. Like just a few days ago, my yard had a foot of snow in it, and now there's like nothing left. Really? And we've had some overnights where it doesn't even get below freezing. So it's too early for us to think, hey, spring is here, let's get excited. But it's that little tease that, Mother Nature gives us to say, hang in there, spring is coming. And they give us 3 or 4 days of this, and we're like, I literally saw a guy today, he was working on a back deck, construction guy, jeans and a t-shirt. And I got talking to him, look at you out here in February with a t-shirt. He's like, this is unbelievable, amazing. So.
But he wasn't wearing winter shorts, though, was he?
No winter shorts. He had long pants on.
Oh, that's not right.
But short sleeve t-shirt. So
yeah.
That's always fun for us in February. You never know what's going to happen. I'm heading out to California next weekend. Joe of JD and the Retro Riders has kind of a fairly significant gig. And I'll tell you the story. So next Friday night, and he said, just for kicks, check the computer for flights. So I'm like, all right. So I look at it, and she and I can fly out there round trip for, it was short money. I'm like, oh my God, how do I say no to this? So I booked it, knowing I had some time to cancel. And then I got to her house, said, hey, check your calendar. And she's like, let's do it. So we're all set. A week ago Monday, we booked this trip for next Thursday through Sunday.
Wow.
And Wednesday night, we got together to like, let's book some housing and let's get on Airbnb and look for a place. We found a cool place. We booked that for a few nights. And then I went, let me just go back and check the flights. And I go into my phone, you know, the calendar, automatically your flights end up in your calendar. So I go to that day and there's no flights. And I'm like, what's up with this? And this, I'm absolutely going to tell this whole story in a seminar at some point, because there's a teaching lesson here, which is not to worry about stuff, because most of it never happens. But the flights are gone. And I'm like, that can't be. I mean, literally the flights were like $620 round trip total for both of us.
Wow, that's good.
So they're gone. And I'm like, that's bizarre. So I go into my email and there's no emails. All the confirmation emails were gone. I'm like, what? And Lynn says, go check your credit card statement. So I go to that. I booked it through Expedia. And there's no flights there, but Expedia had the nerve to charge me $47 as my travel vendor. But there's no travel. And I am realizing these guys just pulled this on me, because then we said, let's just go book it again. So we go to book it again. It's $1,350.
Wow.
And I'm realizing that these guys pulled this from me, destroyed the paper trail, just so they can go sell it to somebody else for more than double the money. I was just fit to be tied. I was just like, this is so wrong. I get oh my goodness, it was awful. And craziness. So then we're all these other flights, trying to figure out other ways to get out there. We just canceled the Airbnb. I'm like, we're just not going to go. And I'm like, I got to call Joe tomorrow. I got to tell him. I'm not looking forward to that conversation. I can't wait to call my credit card company and complain about this vendor and not pay that. And so the next day I get up and I'm running around in my workaday thing. I call my credit card and I'm like, yes, I have a complaint on a vendor with a charge. I refuse to pay it. And I was, man, you know, like up against the wall. I was furious. And I called Joe and I told him, you're not going to believe this. And goes the whole thing. So I'm just out of my mind. And I'm pissed and I'm feeling, you know, victimized by the world and large corporate this and that. And just like, I'm trying to get it behind me. I get home from work the next night, Thursday. Don't you know, here comes an email from American Airlines saying, here's your itinerary for your upcoming flight. And it's the original flights, original price, all of it. And I'm like, oh my God, I have been going, it's just crazy. And so the lesson is, you know, those statistics about, you know, 92% of stuff we worry about never comes to fruition. Don't worry about it. Stop worrying. So this is one of those stories. It was the craziest, funniest, most ridiculous lesson I have learned in a long time.
I wonder why I wasn't there before.
Oh my goodness. So we are going to the West Coast next Thursday. And Joe has already given me a song he wants me to learn and jump in on.
Cool.
They're doing 2 sets of their own original material, the Retro Riders. But there was another band I think that was supposed to show up and they're not. So they're going to do a 3rd set and just do a bunch of covers. And he wants me to jump in on a Tom Petty song. And so apparently I'm starting to become one of these traveling drummers that jumps in on cover bands for one song.
And when I was up there, what was that one song, the Zeppelin song that you guys did?
No Quarter.
No Quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was No Quarter. That's right.
We do No Quarter as an instrumental band. So it's interesting because we got to do the parts that don't have any vocals. But it's fun, you know. I think a lot of people don't even realize what that is as they hear it. We were once playing this club down in downtown Framingham, and we were asking this guy about other bands, and you know, as an instrumental band, it's kind of interesting, and people are like, I mean, most people kind of like it, but we're always curious as to the feedback. And Barry says to the owner of this club, he's like, you know, any other bands out there who kind of like doing what we're doing? He's like, no, you did No Quarter by Zeppelin. I'm like, oh, that's funny. He recognized it right off the bat.
Oh. So
it was a recognizable riff with that, you know,
I'm not
cymbal
sure
crashes.
I feel like I'm fading away or something.
Fading away.
What do you think of
I
that?
can be bad for my self-image. Is it something I said?
No, but you know what? You're coming in clear today, very clear. No,
Well, not as clear as the Keeper's office. We had our sponsor last time.
yeah.
And we'd like to take today some time in episode 21 to thank Cross Country Mortgage for their sponsorship in episode 20. And we look forward to a long and fruitful relationship.
You want to give out their phone number or the website or something, or?
Yeah, lyndevin.com. LYNNDEVIN.
Nice.
Keepa.com.
Thekeeper.com.
Oh, crazy.
What else is going on?
Not a whole lot more. Still a thing, band's having fun. We're writing some really cool stuff. So we're excited about that. It's fun to watch that whole thing happen.
So for years,
And, I'm a drummer. I'm not a guitar player, so I sit behind my drums and I watch Marco and Barry talk like guitarists to each other. And this is where I'm not a huge help to the band, but in terms of the creative process. But it's fascinating to watch this because we're playing this. It's all originals, So we're playing this song, and it really is going good. But Marco's like, and he's talking about the song and just like his note structure, and he goes, it just seems like we go to that note structure a lot. And I'm like, sounds good. And he says, well, that's my point. I want to change it. So like Barry's over there going, and I just watch his brain start to go. And then he says, how about this? And they start, and all of a sudden it's like this totally different direction. It's a fun process. It really is.
So what's Marco's last name?
Santos.
So, Valentine's Day's coming up Monday.
Oh, yeah.
For years, I would ask friends and say, hey, what'd you get your wife for Valentine's Day? It's kind of a strange question to ask, right? They look at you like you're weird, because I want to make sure we're not getting to the same thing. I had a lot of fun with that one over the years.
That's funny. You got me. I didn't know that one.
No, it's like when you first ask them that, they're like, what's it to you? I mean, like, they don't know what. I said, well, I just want to make sure that we're not getting to the same thing, because that would be kind of embarrassing.
For both of us.
For both of us.
He would think we're not talking.
No.
Oh, that's all right. What do you got planned for the Super Bowl? Anything happening?
I just gonna be at home. I think, some years ago I'd go to Super Bowl parties.
Yeah.
What would happen is everybody would cheer for the commercials and they'd talk during the game. And I like to hear what's going on. What they talk about and stuff. Before the game, they always have those stories that they do about some of the players, some of the things that they do. So I like that. But I enjoyed to listen to it on my own instead of being 20 people making noise and drinking. And
I saw a funny Facebook meme last week that said, the best part about the Super Bowl is the commercials. I don't even care who scores the most baskets.
I guess you don't.
That's funny. Yeah, exactly.
That is funny, though. That's good.
It's all hope for a good game. But I bet the LA people are freaking out with their team. And actually, it's being played in LA, right? At Rams home stadium.
Yeah, which means when the Buccaneers won, it was the first time that the home team won in their own town. So that could be a second one that somebody wins in their own town.
That's another reason right there that Tampa Bay fans are rooting against them, because they want to be the only team that's done that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Huh. Interesting.
So
I think everybody else is hoping for a decent game and not a blowout. Wherever,
So what are you getting, Lynn, for Valentine's Day?
Well, I could say that, but I should probably.
Just want to make sure we're not getting to the same thing. That would be kind of embarrassing.
You got me again. You got me when I first heard it, and you played it on me. Damn, you're good.
I know, I'm slick, man.
Woo, that's funny. So Lynn has his friend. This is the house we're going to tomorrow night. Her name is Nina, and they know each other from their professional association. and they're buddies. And I have met Nina a couple of times and her husband. We've been out. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But this is funny because as Lynn and I were starting up, Nina's like, I'm going to check this guy out. I'm going to do a little research. So she does some research and she gets back to Lynn and she says, you're not going to believe this, but this guy and I are from the same hometown and went to the same high school.
Wow.
Yeah, in New York. And I'm like, and so Lynn tells me this. I'm like, what? What's her maiden name? And of course, I didn't recognize it. So in my town growing up, junior high school, which was a term that's gone away, it's been replaced by middle school. We used to call it junior high school. Our junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade.
Right.
And then high school was 10, 11, 12. And so she's a few years younger than me. When I was in 12th grade, she wasn't even in that building. She was in 9th grade at her junior high school. Wow. So I didn't know the name. And there was only 2 junior high schools in this town that fed to high school. She was in the other one. But how funny. Just like, so I'm looking forward to seeing her tomorrow and just kind of chatting. And I actually brought a t-shirt I'm going to wear, which has my hometown on it. It says Port Washington. So that should be fun.
So I don't know if I ever told you, high school was the best 6 years of my life.
Best 6, huh? Oh! So I didn't even know you were hitting that, but on my end,
you were doing
I was right in line. I'm sure the recording's not going to show that. So if you're watching that saying that drummer's way off, on my end, I really wasn't.
No, you weren't. You were good.
Just saying. The best 6 years of my life.
So when I meet people that have children, you know, they have I'll say, hey, how old are you? And they will say, 12. 12? I say, when I was your age, I was 13. And what happens is the parents always laugh, but the kid looks like, huh? You know, the kid looks at me like,
Mom, this guy's weird. You got weird friends, Mom.
And I say, what grade are you in? He said, oh, 7th grade or whatever. I say, man, that was the best 3 years of my life was 7th grade. And again, the parents will laugh, but the kid says, he looks at me like I'm stupid, you know, because that makes no sense.
Have you ever had any kid get that joke?
No, they always give me a weird look, like what a dummy they're thinking.
That means you're talking to smart kids who don't know what it's like to be kept back.
I know, yeah.
Kept back. Oh my gosh, what a scarlet letter that was back in the day.
Wow.
Oof. Kept back a grade.
Kept back a grade, yeah. That's crazy.
Happened. I mean, never to me. To be clear.
When I did the research, it never showed up.
No. When you vetted me out as your podcast partner?
Yeah.
You ever been kept back in elementary school? No.
Although
not as far as you know. Not as far as you know.
When I came to America, I had finished 4th grade in the Azores.
Yeah.
And back then, in the 4th grade was the most you could go to in public school.
Really?
Well, we went to school from 7 in the morning to 5 at night, so it's a totally different thing, and it was more intense. You know, boom, boom, boom.
I guess.
But then when I came to America, and we had to go register to go to school and stuff, my cousins went to translate, and they asked me, what grade are you in? Now, because we only had 4 grades there, I didn't say I'm, 5th grade. I just said 4th grade because that was all we had. I didn't know. So they put me in 4th grade. So I'm in 4th grade with these other. Now the other thing is, I didn't speak a word of English, but I was more advanced than they were in math. You know what I mean? Because we went to school.
Not a word of English, and you just got submerged into a classroom.
Crazy, isn't it?
Do you remember like learning to speak and like by Christmas time you were probably conversational in English? How long did it take?
I wish I could remember exactly how long it takes, but yeah, I don't know. You learn some words here and some words there before you know you're speaking, and then you go into.
It's just that immersion. They call that, right? Immersion. That's the way to learn it.
And I was kind of fortunate because in Hudson, Mass, where I lived, there was 2 schools. There was the middle school, 4th grade, whatever, and most of my friends went to the same school, and they had like a Portuguese homeroom teacher for them to go. The school I went to, we didn't have that. So I was hanging around with American kids more than they were. I still hang around with Portuguese friends, but they were hanging around with Portuguese friends at school, but I was hanging around with American people at school. And because of that, I learned English faster than they did. I think I might have told you this before, but one day we're at the Moulton's Field, which was like a place where we'd go there and watch the guys play softball. Yeah. And I was talking to my friends, and I said, my Portuguese friends, I said, hey, something's happening to me. It's really crazy. Of course, I was speaking Portuguese. I said, for some reason, I'm starting to think in English. And they thought I was crazy. They actually laughed at me. I said, no, I'm serious. But, they didn't to him. They didn't comprehend that because it wasn't happening to them. But to me, I was starting to think in English. Isn't that
To
crazy?
me, that's a sign that you're becoming fluent in a language. You're
Yeah,
thinking in that language. That's interesting.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It's almost like if you're watching TV all the time and you're watching a Spanish channel on TV, you learn to speak a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
But I told you when I think I told you when I moved to Phoenix, and I was working for Sperry Rand Avionics, and I was a quality auditor, so because I had done that in Honeywell up in Massachusetts, and there was three of us in a room, two other guys. They were about my age, maybe a little older. So I was talking to them, but they're not answering me. First day in the job, and two guys there, and I'm trying to, where you guys from, that kind of stuff. But they're not really answering me. I thought that maybe they were rude, but then I realized after a while, because they started talking to each other, that maybe they didn't speak English. But I
Wow.
understood what both of those guys were saying, maybe about 40 to 60%. And the interesting thing, one was speaking Spanish, because he was Mexican, and the other one was speaking Italian, and I was picking up probably about 50 to 60% of the conversation. So the third day, they were having a conversation that I was understanding, so I threw in some Portuguese in there, and they both looked at me like, and then they understood what I said. So like now we're talking, the three of us are talking, because they were nice guys, and they just didn't talk to me before because I was speaking English and they didn't understand. But
Wow.
we can understand each other, not 100%, but we can have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Strange, yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
I
Really
saw
is.
I saw a guy that owns Italian deli, and he makes all kinds of foods. They're awesome stuff, and they sell it like a store. They have all kinds of stuff. And years ago, when my son was about 12 years old, we lived near that place where the deli is. And my son went there and says, "Hey, Mr. Felice," because his name is Felice Pork Store. Says, "I need a job." So Felice kind of laughed at him because he's like a 12-year-old kid. He says, "You're too young to
Is
work."
Eric or Josh?
Eric.
Yeah.
So he says, "You're too young to work." He says, "No, I can do stuff. If you have like boxes of cans you want me to put in the shelf and put the price on them or something, I can do that. I can take the trash out, whatever you need. I can do anything. Just tell me what you want, and I'll do it." So Mr. Felice felt so impressed with him that he says, "Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
the job." So he'd
Kids
go there
hustling.
after school. He'd go there and he'd work for 2 or 3 hours a day, whatever they needed. So here's a funny story. I became friends with Mr. Felice because he said your son is amazing. So one time I was at Walmart and I saw Felice with his cart full of groceries over by the produce. But then he left the cart there and he walked over to like 2 houses over to get some avocados or something. And I grabbed this cart and I kind of moved around, went around the other side. He goes over there with his avocados and he can't find his cart. So I pull up with his cart and I said, "Hey, Felice, how you doing?" He says, "I'm a crazy right now. Some stupid SOB. He took my cart. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on over here." I said, "No, nobody will take your cart." He said, "Yeah, I heard over here in another store. They took my cart. The son of a, he's like flipping out, he's swearing and stuff." I said, "Well, you know what? Put the stuff in this cart. You can use mine." He goes, "I don't want to use your cart. I want my cart back. Somebody took it. The son of a beast." He's going like really getting mad. I said, "Felice, this is your cart." He says, "What? What are you talking about?" I says, "This is yours. I took it and went around the other way." He goes, "Oh my God, Tony, you crazy?" He's like. But not too long ago, I was at the gas station and I started talking to him in Italian. I don't speak Italian fluently, but I know it a little bit. And
Right.
he gets to me in Italian. We had a little conversation in Italian, and it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a Portuguese speaking person, because the
That's so
Italian and the
funny.
Spanish and the Portuguese are similar.
Oh, that's funny.
It's funny, isn't it?
I liked your imitation of him. That was good.
Oh yeah, but if I could really do it, I don't want to do it I don't want to be censored in my own podcast, if you know what I mean.
Well, we have to come up with a name for we don't want to Jason this up.
Yeah. I mean, the way he was talking and throwing out those big words at the produce section in Walmart was so funny. By that time, everybody's looking. So I finally had to give in and tell him, "This is your cart."
That is
Oh, I love
funny.
it so much. Wow.
Good stuff.
Phew.
Well, man, I feel you on the just a huge disappointment for you. That's really brutal.
Yeah,
But
I put a lot of work and time into that, and I'm not complaining. I enjoyed all of it.
yeah,
But to have one guy in the band that decide to make
yeah,
that choice and the other guys to go along with him, that's like total bullshit.
yeah. But for 6 days out, you seem to be pretty okay, and you're got a good attitude, and you absolutely will bounce back.
You know what it is? I know this is going to sound crazy, but the first 2 days I was really upset. But
Of
then after that,
course,
I've been thinking, you know what? They lost more than I did. Boom.
that's the healthy mindset.
So this is what I think of them. That's what they're
That's
saying.
their future. That's their future career right there without you.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself putting together another band at some point and meeting with some other guys and jam and see
Yeah.
what falls together?
I've already talked to 3 guys about that. There's a thing called Ben Mix. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ben Mix.
I don't think I have.
So benmix.com. It's almost like a dating site for musicians, but
Yeah.
not for dating for playing music. So you put your profile on there, what you are, what you're looking for, and then all kinds of stuff people pop up that you can touch base with. I was looking for a band, but I'm finding a lot of guys that are like individuals that they in Zephyr Hills or they're in Brandon or there's Bradenton, so they're like over an hour away from me. That's not what I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
I'll find
Yeah,
something.
but the key is you're putting it out there. It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen, yeah.
Yeah, good.
I
Good
just think
attitude.
one of my friends has a booth at the flea market where he sells used equipment, and he's a real good artist. So he has his art and stuff, and he has some guitars and whatever. And he's the one that was playing the drums with us when we were playing Breaking the Law
Yep.
when the police showed up.
Is this the jazz guy? The jazz he's really good.
No, he's not jazz. He's believe it or not, he's a punk guy. He plays punk music, which is kind of strange because he's in his
Hmm.
late 50s. He's good though.
Wow.
The band is really good. But he said, "Well, you know what? You'll find something better. Don't worry about it."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you will. Everybody who's ever been kicked out of a band has. So there you go.
And tomorrow I have a couple of guys that are coming over to jam.
Really?
We're gonna have lunch, then we're gonna jam over here at my house, and then. So here's an interesting story. One of those guys, I had a stroke about 7 years ago, and then I was in the
Yeah.
hospital. I was in the hospital overnight, and most of the other next day. But then I was released. And the very following Friday, this is on the Saturday that I had that stroke. Very following Friday, we played at Silver King, and I played, and nobody could tell the difference. I couldn't tell the difference, right? But then gradually, I started to find some things that popped up where my hand doesn't work as well or whatever. But this other guy, he's a really good blues player, and he had a stroke, but his stroke was different than mine. He was in the hospital for seven days, well, like a whole week over there. And then when he went home, he was walking back to his bedroom, and he looked in the room on the side in the hallway. Says, "Hey, Renee, what's with all these guitars and amplifiers in that room?" She goes, "Well, those are yours." He goes, "What do I have guitars and amplifiers for?" She goes, "Well, you're a guitar player." He goes, "What?" He didn't remember that he was a guitar player. So here's a story that he told. The next day he went in there, he tried to play some stuff, and he couldn't figure anything out. He couldn't figure out how to play any chords or anything. He says, "I don't play the guitar. This is crazy." So every day he tried for a while, but he just couldn't get it going. Then one day he took his acoustic out to his front porch, and he sat out there for 7 hours, he told me, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And he finally figured out that some chords. He says, "Oh, I know this situation here." And he started moving from one chord to another. And if you heard him play today, you would never know that he had a problem at all.
Wow.
So one day I was
That's
at,
crazy.
and he's an awesome blues guy. So he's gonna be to me tomorrow with you. But one day I was over at Jason's house, and Jason told me that he had had a heart attack or something. He couldn't play the guitar anymore because he had 3 guitars hanging on the wall and a nice amplifier. I says, "What's with that?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't play because I had a heart attack and I can't play anymore. I don't know how to play." So I told him Fred's story.
Yeah.
He says, "Really?" I says, "Yeah." So after we did some work, I says, "Grab those guitars, grab a guitar, give me one, and let's plug those things in, and we're gonna play one song." He goes, "I can't play." I says, "Yes, you can." So I says, "You know how to do an E chord?" He goes, "Yeah." I says, "You know how to do an A chord?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "Just follow me." So I started doing, the thing back and forth with those 2 chords. Then I started singing "Are You Ready" from Grand Funk Railroad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I started singing that, and we're playing it, and he goes, "Whoa!" Now he's really into it because he was playing. I said, "See, You can play. You
You're
just
playing a song, right?
in your mind you thought you couldn't play, so that's why you haven't played it all. But now, if you play a little bit every day, before you know it, you'll get it all back. So once in a while we get together, we just play a little bit, and he says, "Tony, this is amazing. If it wasn't for you, I'd probably never play again. I was going to sell the guitars and all that stuff." I said, "Well, there you go."
That theme keeps coming up. That's exciting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And you got some guys coming on tomorrow to jam, huh?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Wasting no time. I love that. Good.
Just to see what's going on, it's just to play.
Yeah.
And I had another guy that would play for me. I think I told you about him. He just moved back to Pennsylvania again. But one day Terry says, "Hey, Renee's husband that plays guitar." And I knew the guy and I really liked him, but I didn't know he played the guitar. So I called him and said, "Hey, so I heard you play the guitar." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I says, "Why don't you guys come over for lunch? Bring your guitar and your amp, and we'll jam a little bit after lunch." So he comes over. So I'm talking to him. He says, "I said, what kind of music you play?" He goes, "Well, I played in a band when I was in high school, but I haven't played with anybody since." I says, "So what kind of stuff? Play a song from back then." So he started playing something, and I knew it, so I just followed along with him. And he's like really grooving, Then second song, same thing. Then the third song I also knew, so we're playing. And halfway through it, I could see like tears coming down his eyes. So I stopped. I says, "Hey, Chris, you okay?" He goes, "No, you don't understand, man. I played guitar in a band in high school. I still play at home by myself, but I've never played with anybody since high school."
Wow.
And he's in like his late 50s. So he says, "So you have no idea what this means to me. This is so crazy." He was all emotional and stuff.
What a beautiful
And
story.
Chris and Fred would get together with Jim, the three of us, at either my Fred's house or over here, and it's pretty good. One time we were playing at a private party in Newport Richey, where there's like one of those small airports. I think I told you about that, where the people fly their own
Yeah.
plane and they have a hangar in a house.
Yep.
So we played there, and our bass player wasn't available, and the other John wasn't available. So those two guys came up with their guitars, and then I called one of my friends who was a bass player who was really, really good. He came up, so we're playing. So we had the four of us over there in the band, and the other guys were Fred and Chris were a little further away, but they weren't playing with us initially. So I said, "No, jump in." So we just started jamming with us. It was just so much fun, man. Those guys were really good. So crazy.
And you are putting such good, you've been planting all these beautiful seeds for years with touching other people's lives through music and all this response you're getting. It's just a matter of time before something incredible falls together for you. I'm convinced of that. That's amazing.
Something's gonna happen. I'm not worried. Might not
Wow.
happen right away, but
And something way better, way better.
way better, yeah. Life goes on, right?
No question. No question.
So this podcast was all about me.
Well, I understand my role.
Oh man, I appreciate you.
Oh, you too, brother. I love you. I'm with you every step. You know that. Good stuff. Better stuff coming.
And if I have to fly to Massachusetts to gym with some people, I will.
Yeah, Monday night. Can you be here Monday?
Night, yeah. Now, how did you meet Barry and Marco?
Hmm?
How did you meet Barry and Marco?
I answered a Craigslist ad. They were looking for a drummer, and there was three of them and a keyboard player with them. We originally were a four-piece with a keyboard player, and we rehearsed in the keyboard player's basement. And over time, it just was realizing like different commitment levels, and we just thought this is not really working. So we had that uncomfortable conversation, and we moved on as a three-piece, thinking that we would find a keyboard player in a month or less. It just never happened. In this area, keyboard players are hard to find. If you find a good one, they're playing in 5 bands already. So I'm always recording on my phone. All the stuff we're doing is just playing, and I would send stuff to like my friend Joe a lot, and he would text me back saying, "There's no holes here. You're not missing anything. Just continue as a three-piece." So we've done just that, and we're still open to play with it with a lot of different people. It's just if it's supposed to happen, my thinking is if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. Like the night that I showed up in their basement to basically rehearse or play with an instrumental band, original music, whose music I never heard, except they just started to play some stuff. And I'm like, my first thought was, well, where's that drummer? Because he's really good. Why am I here? Oh, he moved to Oregon or something. But we sat down and just started to play. And I can remember like it was yesterday, it just fell together.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was amazing.
Nice.
So that's how that happened.
Very cool.
Yeah, good stuff ahead, pal. No worries.
You show Marco the thing about that meme that I sent you with about the catalytic converters and
Yes. Although talk about making a positive out of a negative, we wrote a song around that whole thing
yeah,
called "Crackhead with a Plan." It'll be it's one of my one of our newer ones that I like a lot.
crackhead with a plan. Yeah, crackhead.
And I just read online today, one of those neighborhood website things. There were 4 more catalytic converters stolen out of parked cars last night in Worcester.
Wow,
Crazy.
that's crazy. Well, I'm glad we got together today. I'm gonna cut it off here, but I'm glad we got together. And
Yeah, me too. And I'm out of town next week, and so I'm glad we got this in. I'm glad that I was. Listen, your news is just your news, and that's all it is. Now it's past news, and so you're moving forward. It's all good. All good. I'm excited to hear about your jam tomorrow. Keep me posted.
you know how it goes. It's yeah.
Oh, I was right on. There's a delay in the video, but I got to tell you, from my side, I was right on. It was right on.
I like the way you say that.
Are you buying any of it?
No, but you're coming through real clear today. So sometimes you kind of cut out a little bit, but none at all today. So I'm not sure what you did different, but it's good.
Well, I was standing here in this little corner. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the spot.
Wow. And right behind you, it says something about heart.
Yeah. Dream and make dreams come true. Don't stop believing. Make it happen. Nothing's impossible for a willing heart.
See, I can't read any of it except for the heart thing. That's all I can read.
Oh, there it is.
All right, man.
All right, pal, go get them.
Mike, you're the best.
You are.
Thank you for listening to my complaining.
Not at all. That wasn't complaining. It was just current events.
Yeah.
And a setback is a setup for a comeback.
So this podcast becomes an adult, 21.
Ooh, legal.
So next week, nothing, but then let me know for the week after that if you want to do it, if you're available.
That sounds good.
Okay, buddy.
Look forward to it, pal.
See ya.
Hang in there.
Thank you.
Take care.